FM. This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. I committed a cardinal sin a minute ago for broadcasters. You know, that sound out there will drain the daylight energy out of you. It's just crazy, right? So what I did, I came into the studio. I had to climb 3 flights of stairs to get here into the studio from the hot sun after walking a little bit of a distance from the parking lot. Needless to say, I felt I needed a little pick-me-up. So we have these wonderful, not a lozenge, but it's like a soft candy type of thing called pollen burst chews that give you natural energy. And I just took one just before the show starts, and now my mouth full of pollen burst chews. So please forgive me while this dissolves in my mouth. I should have known better. Okay, it's almost gone. Okay, so welcome to GPS. I already feel energized. Praise the Lord, at least the AC in here working dead good. So you walk in here, and it helps to revive you after coming through Hades. Because out there hot as hell. If hell hotter than that, don't go. Amen. That ain't no place for you to be if it's hotter than out there. All right, so I digress. Today is Monday, and a couple of weeks ago, we had this fine gentleman on the show, Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson. And he agreed at that time that he would come back and break down the Constitution of the Bahamas for us. So I'm calling Mondays from now until that process is done Masterclass Monday. Because we, for the next several weeks, God willing, God spare our lives, will have a masterclass on the Constitution of the Bahamas. Why is this important? Because the Constitution of the Bahamas is the supreme law of a nation, of the Bahamas. Supreme law takes precedence over all laws. It is the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so it makes sense to me that we should know what's in that document because it impacts us all. And I don't know of anybody better to break this down for us than the gentleman sitting here in the studio with me. So once again, Professor Thompson, welcome back to GPS.
Well, thank you, Ms. Malcolm. It's good to be here. In fact, I will agree with you, the Constitution being the supreme law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And it is most important. In fact, we can get 100,000 people to think just like me when it comes to the Constitution. Because we are going to have some serious challenges, the likes we've never seen before in our history. We're going to be challenged from within. We're going to be challenged with personalities from without. And we have to be very, very strong. And I must say, I am grateful to the Bahamian people for my years of experience. I remember I did constitutional shows with Carlton Smith on Guardian Radio, and also with Lady Russell at ZNS on the show. And the shows have been extremely popular. Very, very good shows. And people have been calling and asking questions. And every time people see me, they always got a constitutional question to ask me. I am peppered with constitutional, even coming up here today, I was peppered with constitutional questions. And I don't mind that.
Yeah,
because
reputation
the interest is
precedes
high. The interest is extremely high.
But
And
that's
that is
good.
good.
That's a good
I like
thing.
that. That's a good sign. Now we're going to work and build on that, expand on it, get people to have it in simple, basic, fundamental language so that a little child could tell grandma, that's what Professor Thompson said on this particular point or these key points in relation to the Constitution.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, yes.
We are going to start with the preamble because the last time he was here, we pretty much, it was sort of like a preamble to the preamble. We were just sort of setting the stage for understanding the value of a constitution, how a constitution works and why it's important to a nation and a people that you have, first and foremost, a good constitution. And secondly, knowledge of what's in the Constitution so that we, the people, can be the best guards over that. In other words, you see somebody going astray, particularly those that we have elected to leadership, and talking about, I may have to violate the Constitution.
Child, please.
We let them know quick and fast, dude, the Constitution is bigger than you.
Exactly.
And this position which you hold, I can be right there when you're gone. So don't get it twisted. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be today, hopefully, we'll be able to get through the entire preamble. I don't know. It's only a 2-hour show. So we can see what we could do. But we're gonna start with trying to break down the preamble bit by bit by bit so we get a full understanding of that. So Jason, I may need you to go to that clip that we have in the system. Yeah, let's go to that clip.
The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Preamble. Whereas 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks, and keys heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now know ye, therefore, we, the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation founded on spiritual values and in which no man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone or their labor exploited or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Preamble. Okay, that's the preamble to the Constitution of the Bahamas. So let's break that down, Professor Thompson. First, let's define what is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The Commonwealth of the Bahamas, this family of islands, rocks and keys, the persons who inhabit it today. We're a nation under God, the Bahamian people. There's a lot of talk about who the we is in the preamble. The Bahamian people. We, the inheritors and successors to this family of islands. First, it starts about the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys.
Right.
When Columbus came here.
Right.
The old world and the new world. We are so strategically located. I think Bahamians need to fully comprehend our geography, how God has placed us in a very strategic location on planet Earth. And the better we understand that, we will better understand our position and how we ought to be played in this world where there's so much chicanery and foolishness and nonsense. We have to protect this interest, this family of islands, rocks and keys for the protection of the Bahamian people. That is most important. And especially, as you said earlier, about those who govern us, those who are responsible for our national affairs. We have to keep tabs on them. If we don't keep tabs on them and monitor them, watch what they're doing, listen to what they say, we, the Bahamian people, have to gently and sometimes forcibly correct those persons who are charged with the responsibility of running our national affairs. We must not take that lightly. Now, it may very well be we didn't know in the past, that's fine. But today, from the day onward forward, the 8th of April, August the 8th, yes, going forward, we cannot not keep not knowing. We have to start to know what's in this document, how it can benefit us, how it can benefit our children, our grandchildren, our nation, and how we can stand tall in the world under the supremacy of God.
Right. So, without going too far off topic, the first thing that comes to my mind, based on what you just said, is what is a Bahamian?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. What is a Bahamian? We became a nation prior to July the 10th, 1973. There was no Bahamian.
Okay.
And Bahamians need to understand that. We became Bahamians July the 10th, 1973. That's when the Bahamas started, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Right.
And the thing is, Article 3, I think it's 3.1, the Constitution, speak to the fact those who were born in the former colony called the Bahama Islands, having citizenship in the British Commonwealth, born in the former colony of the Bahama Islands, being a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, on the 10th of July, 1973, they had transferred their citizenship from that British colony to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, there were some who didn't accept that. They went off, and that was fine. They could have done that.
Right.
That's how it began. That's how the Bahamian system started. You got to start with that point. How did we start as a nation? Because I've heard all kinds of foolishness and nonsense about what is a Bahamian. That's the starting point. If you miss that, then you miss the whole thing. And then those who are born from those individuals, the successors to this family of islands, all of those who were their July the 10th, 1973, the inheritors to this family of islands, when they became citizens of the new nation, Commonwealth of the Bahamas. They always like to use the full name, Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because we are Commonwealth. Everything in the Bahamas should be common for Bahamians. The wealth, what's in the ground, what's in the seas, what's in the sky, what God has blessed us with, all of that belongs to the Bahamian people. God gave it to us, and we are under God. Our forefathers didn't want a nation without God. They realized the importance of God guiding and leading and directing the affairs of our people. So that is very important. That's how it all began. That's what a Bahamian is.
So later in the Constitution, as we get into these master classes, we'll be able to define, based on the Constitution, what makes one a Bahamian citizen. But today we're focusing strictly on the preamble, because we're going to go through this whole thing in the next series of classes as we break it down for you and make it easy for you to understand. So we hear now about this relationship of the Bahamas to the New World. What is that relationship?
The relationship has to be where, when Columbus came here, well, he was looking for something, but miraculously he ended up here. And he brought some things with him. And of course, there was some negatives to that as well. But you're dealing with human beings. Our relationship with the old world and the new world, people on this side of the world, the Americas, North America, Central America, South America, the Caribbean. The Bahamas is separate and apart from all of them. We're a chain of islands carved out by God. So we have a relationship with that old world, the Spanish, the British, and also the new world, the Americas, Canada, Central and South America, and the Caribbean. So now what has happened is the Bahamas is so strategically located between what was then the old world, and they were looking for something new. They came this way, and they found a whole new system, a whole new setup. And of course, you had those old powers there, the Spanish and the British. Of course, they fought, and some got some islands, some got this, some got that. But the point is, our relationship as the Commonwealth of the Bahamas should be a friendly one. It should be one where we respect the principles of our Constitution. We should not give up any of our rights, our freedoms, or privileges. I heard someone was talking today about the fact that we must follow these, what they call international agreements. Article 2 of your Constitution is clear. Any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail. And the other law, to the extent of its inconsistency, declared null and void. Do you know we have signed on all kinds of things? And the people who signed these things didn't even check to see what was in the Constitution. Don't even know the Constitution. And that's what bothers me. We're signing on this, signing on that, signing on that. The fellows wanted the prime minister to sign, open all the gates, open up everything. But he's saying, no, I ain't going there.
Yeah, he's a smart man to say
Well,
that.
I'm glad he did.
He would have been the shortest lived prime minister in the history of our country if he'd have signed that.
If he'd have signed that, yeah. He wouldn't last at the last one.
No, sir.
But the point is, we have had people signing, and see, we have to even look at all these agreements. Because they're unconstitutional, they're invalid. And I hear people telling us, we have to do this, we have to. No, we don't have to do it. Because if it's contrary to our constitutional law, it has no validity in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We can hear what others have to say. We don't have to do what they tell us to do and jump when they tell us to jump. That's the same trend we're going today, and that's why we're into so much difficulty signing this, signing that. And individuals never saw the Constitution in their life.
Wow.
That's sad. But that's the problem we have. We have to fix that. I don't know whether in the Ministry of Education You could have a whole army of children. Say they come into school, no parents. In my day, you had to know who's your ma, who's your pa, who are your relatives. That went through with me from kindergarten school right on through to high school, right on to college. I went to the Bahamas Teachers College. And they had to know who your parents were. But someone asked the question no longer than today. What about these parents who are here illegally? These bunch of children. What you can do with the children? What you going to do with the parents? They're in your country. And then the question from the personalities who are on the show. International convention. What international convention? Tell us which one. And what does it specifically say? Because I know Article 2 of my Constitution and your Constitution says it cannot prevail if it goes contrary to the interests of the Bahamian people. How can you support something that is diametrically opposed to the interests of the Bahamian people, where our own children are being disadvantaged, our own parents are being disadvantaged, our own systems are being disadvantaged by strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders in your midst? We have to change that.
Fascinating. All right. So based on the explanation that you gave a moment ago about the strategic position that the Bahamas finds itself, that God placed us, right here, and I don't think it was by chance or accident.
No, it wasn't.
This is why we are referred to as the gateway.
Yes.
And I think if we understood that, if you understand the power of a gateway, everything got to come through you.
Exactly.
So we need to stop selling ourselves short, I think, and understand how powerful we are based on our location alone, and how we can better utilize that positioning to improve lives for all Bahamians. All right. So when was this new world heralded or announced?
This new world was heralded and announced, I think, more than 430 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The rediscovery, it says the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks, and keys,
right,
heralded the new world. The thing is that we have lost sight of our history. We played it down. Now some others have benefited from it. But where the man set his foot and brought his ships, we've lost out on that.
So, in other words, no matter how much of a scoundrel you think Columbus was, the fact that he came through here has some significance that we are missing opportunities on.
Tremendous significance. Most outstanding significance. And unfortunately, our leaders don't see it. And some of our religious leaders have played it down. And they just try to dampen it. But it's the reality of what went down.
For a reason.
For a reason, yes. See, God uses people. He used a harlot. We have that in the scriptures.
This is true.
But a repentant one. Now, in Columbus' case, we are not sure. But the point is, he was used very strategically for us, the Bahamian people, and those who came before us. So we have to look at our situation, come to understand where we are, and that God guides persons who run things in these nations. He said he sets up rulers. He sets over the bases of men. Now, that's one I don't quite understand. He picks people of the wildest of character and install them in high office. And you wonder, well, why would God do something like that? But he say, take them down too.
Yeah, because I still question Trump.
I don't know why he does it, but he says that. We have to accept scripture for what it says.
Yeah, I get it.
But he said that. But the thing is that we are so strategically located. We got to understand our geography. We got to understand our history. That's why it is so important. We understand what happened in 1492, coming forward right on to 2022.
This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay. Wow. Would you believe it's 2:27 already?
Wow. We haven't started yet.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk more about the preamble, breaking it down bit by bit by bit with Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is our guest for the next couple of Mondays as we get through this Constitution. We're calling it Masterclass Mondays.
Yes.
And who knows how long this is going to take us.
God
We can cover every bit, God willing.
God willing.
God keep us here on this side of eternity.
Amen.
Until you get the full understanding of what that document says and how it affects you. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we're back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here along with Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is conducting a series of masterclasses every Monday here on GPS as we break down the Constitution of the Bahamas for you so that you can understand what it means. Our telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line to send us a message if you so desire. Message via text. Do not call. The WhatsApp line is 801-0271. 801-0271. Now, let me just say this. We got plenty ground to cover. And whereas we welcome you to call in with your questions, please make it sensible questions as it relates to the Constitution. If you come on here running on with foolishness today, you getting cut. You've been forewarned. Like they used to say on a show I used to love to watch back in the day, a show about auctions. Fair warning. You call talking foolishness, you're getting cut because we got too much ground to cover and very little time to do so. All right, so we are still amidst the preamble of the Constitution. We're trying to break it down bit by bit by bit. And my next question of you, Professor, is why are we called this family of islands, rocks, and keys?
That's an interesting question. That is really the makeup of the country itself, physically. And those rocks and keys serve a significant purpose. The islands also serve a significant purpose. See, when God shaped the Bahamas, it has been so designed, if something happened in the north, we can go to the central or we can go to the south. You saw what happened in the north part of our country, Grand Bahama and Abaco. Many of those people had to come to New Providence. And I believe many of them are still here on the island of New Providence. But now we understand things are beginning to build up, and we just hope the best for those two islands because they were our second and third pillars in the economy of the Bahamas. But the structure of our country, the way how God set it up, we will be able to move if there is a tragedy in the north, in the central part of the Bahamas, in the southern Bahamas. There don't have to be anything because when it happened, people thought, oh, the Bahamas gone. No. They had to be told. The Bahamas is a chain of islands. So what had happened to Abaco and Grand Bahama didn't affect the entire country as some thought. And they had to come in and actually see it to make sure that that was the case. So we have to explain to our people the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, a chain of islands, rocks and keys, make up the geographical location of our country from north to south.
I want to read one of our Facebook viewers' comments. It says, a photo was shown where Mr. Biden, Prime Minister Davis, along with 19 countries, stood with President Biden to allow immigrants to freely come to their countries, yet our Prime Minister says he did not agree to it. Presently, they are coming daily to Abaco, Freeport, Andros, and Eleuthera, and immigration officers are saying they were told not to touch them. What can we, the citizens, do? Because it is clear that our leaders don't know or understand the Constitution.
That's an interesting point that the person said. The thing is, we got to know who's saying what. I think when I hear comments like that, sometimes it could be confusing. And we want to get the facts. We want to get the truth of the matter. Who is doing what? See, anytime when I hear comments like that, I say, can you pinpoint accurately? Because when we're going to disseminate information, the information ought to be accurate and precise. Now, some strange things are happening. I'm not going to negate that.
Right.
We have to find out who is saying what, who is doing what. Let us deal with those individuals according to law. Because if there are people who are allowing people in here contrary to the statute laws relating to immigration, to the constitutional laws relating to immigration, that's a big problem. That has to be fixed. So the citizen, what the citizen can do, Article 24.1. That's why you always hear me go to Article 24.1.
And we're going to get to that.
We are going to have to put the kind of pressure in the right places with our representatives, with our leaders. Once we understand where it's coming from, how it's coming from, we have to address it properly. We can't be guessing. We can't be saying, oh, we hear this or we hear it. No. We have to know for sure who is doing what, because there's a way to find out. we can find out what is happening. There's enough modern technology we have around here. People recording this and recording that. And we can't get anything credible. Now, you have to be joking.
So listen to this now, and then we're going to get back to the preamble. So Cara on Facebook says, have we asked what they are running from first? When we asked, then we could help. I believe their lands are dying. What that got to do with our Constitution, Professor?
Nothing at all. See, we cannot take on. See, the world is looking at it, or people out there, and maybe not everybody, but quite a number of them looking at it where the Bahamas taking on more than 12, 13 million people in that nation, plus they have millions around the world now. Haiti has been a very disturbed place from its inception when it became an independent nation in 1804. It is an extremely violent history, and still is today in 2022. I just listened just before coming to the show, the terrible, terrible things that are happening over there. Even today, on August 8th. How should or why should the Bahamas take on a burden we can't even bear? We have enough of our own. We have to close our borders. We have to protect our borders. And we have to stand up. While we may be concerned about the welfare of other people, yes, but we can't let them ride on our backs and take us down because they have problems over there. When we had our problems prior to 1967, the Bahamian people had to fight. And here's one thing I want to say about the Bahamian people. We don't give our leaders the kind of credit where we were in 1968, when Martin Luther King was still trying to get people to sit around the counters in the United States. He died in 1968, had a dream in his head, and he fought for his people. But we don't give credit to our own people. We were so far ahead of what Martin Luther King was doing at that time. And still today, we don't recognize it. See, this is a problem we have as a people. We always want to be looking for somebody outside to credit us for this and credit us for that. But the Bahamian people were so far ahead than those people in the United States when it came to people of color. And we have to look at our own history and see how our own leaders who were with us stood up in this country against the oligarchs. There's still some problems still today, but we have to fight. We have to keep fighting until this whole thing is, well, we got to get the economic power now. That was political power back then.
If you think the political power is a tough fight, good God.
Yes.
They'll kill you for economic power.
Well, then we will have to, we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that. It was a tough fight, but it looked as if for some people, it can't be broken. This, what we have today, could be broken. But, of course, we'll come to that about the National Commitment to Unity.
Let's stick with the preamble. All right. So next question as it relates to the preamble. What significant principle did the people of this country recognize?
The significant principle that the people of this country recognize is one thing: they didn't want no nation without God. When we came out of slavery in 1884, I think it was, and slavery was abolished, the people didn't burn down the people's house, or tear up the man yard. They went in that same little hut over there, which was a church, and they knelt down and gave God thanks for the abolition of slavery. And that kind of spirit has been in the Bahamian people from that time, even before that, right on through our day. That's why you find the Bahamian people of a different temperament from those in other parts of the Caribbean. This respect for God, for thanking God, for helping us and bringing us through a very trying and difficult time. We're going to need God again to help us because it's going to be rougher now. You think it was rough then. When you look at the forces that can come against us, we're going to need God every single step of the way. That's the significant factor we need now in governing our country, because there are some who want to go contrary to the Constitution. There are some who are leaning now to pressure. But we have to fight back. We have to tell them no. It cannot happen. Bahamians have to stand up and say, no, that is contrary. You cannot overturn the will of the Bahamian people in a referendum with a statute law, other nonsense and foolishness. But there are some who believe they could do it. And if you allow them, they'll get away with it. But you have to tell them no, can't happen.
Wow. Okay. I got a couple of comments on Facebook. I'll just read a couple and then I'm going to ask the next question. So Wolverine says, we are applying pressure now. Their response is to, this was in response to Kara asking questions earlier about can we work together, meaning the Bahamas and Haiti, to grow food, fishing. So Wolverine says, we are applying pressure now. Their response is to compound the issues by not doing nothing. This is why the only way to get them to do anything is by threat of shutdown, affecting their oligarchs, foreign entities, politicians' pockets. Bertha says, we need solutions in this country. We talk so many ideas, we can't come to any conclusion. Suck my teeth, I'm tired. And Wolverine again says, look at the response to Dorian from then to now. It is a reason they are dragging their feet. They're already setting the scenario for another disaster loan. Their new grift is to use climate change to play victim. All right, let's stay focused. Okay, so let's get back to the questions as it relates to the preamble of the Constitution. In case you're joining the show late, we are calling this Masterclass Monday. This is the second class that Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson is conducting as it relates to the Constitution of the Bahamas, and we're going to have him here, God willing, every Monday for a masterclass until we get through the entire document. So he could be here for a little while.
Amen.
But we got to make sure you get a full understanding of what is in that document, because as we've laid out, it is the supreme law of your land.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about the significant principle that the people of this country recognize. Did the people of this country recognize that some very specific things would have to be done regarding that principle?
Oh, yes.
Please explain.
There are some specific things that we as a people have to do, as outlined in the preamble, to guarantee our freedom. One is the recognition of God as the supreme ruler of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's one. Then there has to be a national commitment to do some very specific things in order to preserve the freedoms that we have. They're not just going to be there because it's in the document, but we have to have people enforce it. In other words, we have to do some very clear-cut, specific things, and I'll let you take it one step at a time, for us to preserve our freedoms. Our freedoms are not cheap. A great price was paid for what we enjoy today as Bahamian citizens. And people need to understand that. It didn't come cheap. People gave their lives. They never benefited from it. But we are benefiting from it. The hard work of our forefathers and our mothers who did much hard work. And it would appear to me as we don't fully understand what they did. What did mommy and daddy do? My own mother, my own father, my grandparents before them fought very hard to make it possible for me to be where I am today, and my other 8 siblings and their children and so on. But the thing is, we have to learn to appreciate what went on before us, the kind of hard sacrifices that were made by our people, because we today have to sacrifice for those coming after us we're going to have to stand up because some mistakes were made, yes, but we have to correct the mistakes. We can't just say, woe is me. We keep blaming this one, blaming that one, blaming the next one. The point is we got to look at our problems. We need Bahamian solutions to these Bahamian problems. I get very disturbed when I hear people who are highly educated, where we spend all this money educating them here, there, and everywhere, and then they come back. Well, that's what happened in France. That's what happened in Spain. That's what happened in England. That's what happened in Canada. I get very upset about that because you didn't learn much. Because you need to look at what they're doing and say, let's say, look at Fort Finn Castle in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Finn Castle is a community within a constituency called Centerville. You have Mason's Addition. That's another community that's within the constituency of Centerville. Then you have other Strawn's Corner, where the big jumper church is, Church of God of Prophecy further down south.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are unique communities within the constituency of Centerville. Then you got Centerville in October. Centerville in October, yes. That's another unique feature. But we aren't sitting down and getting the people involved in these communities say, let's come together. Let's see what we can do to build our communities. What is it that you can contribute? We want to take one size fits all. It's not working. We have to get our people to see the unique features in these local communities in these now the constituency is also unique, totally different from Lightfoot Key and other communities we have here. But we're not looking at the unique features in each community, in each constituency, and finding appropriate solutions based on what we have studied. We look at what's happening there. We look at what's happening there. We come back home, put our heads at the table. Let's get it done the Bahamian way. We're not doing that. We're just copycatting what someone else is doing and say one size fits all. That's foolishness.
Cara is blowing up Facebook, and I still don't think Cara gets what we're talking about today. I think Cara doesn't understand that this show is about the Constitution of the Bahamas, not our emotions as it relates to issues facing the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm going to read a couple more from messages. It says, I believe working together with respectable laws for all. We are all under God. No need to cut out the black magic because we are all brothers and sisters. The Lord mad because of it, and the lands are dying. Sorry, have to tell the truth. Here's the thing, though. Weren't borders established?
Yes, they were.
For a reason?
Amen.
Explain that, please.
God said he set the boundaries of nations.
That's what I thought.
That's in your Bible.
That's what I thought.
And that's why the people of this family of islands, Rocks and Keys, had that fear for God. They prayed to God, and God guided the affairs, even though we were slaves. Yes, we had slave masters. The fact that we had them, that's not necessarily a good thing, but that's a part of our history. But even through that, God is able to take you through slavery, preserve your people, and bring them through. That ain't the first time God has done that. He did it many times in the past. We make mistakes, but God is willing to forgive us. But the thing is, we have to see where we are, what we've gone through, what it is we need to do as a people. And of course, you'll come to the national commitments that are listed there. But the thing is that we have to understand that we need solutions. We just can't keep talking about the problems all the time. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas gives us hardcore solutions for a nation, certain strong principles that we ought to live by in order to have the nation strengthened. It can't be strengthened any other way.
And it's not talking about strengthening the Bahamas on another nation.
No, not
the Constitution of the Bahamas strictly speaks to the Bahamas.
People, yes.
So it doesn't take into account our feelings about our brothers and sisters from any other nation, the Constitution of the Bahamas is strictly
For Bahamians.
for Bahamians and
That's
what
correct.
happens within this boundary
Exactly.
of this nation
Yes.
called the Bahamas, correct?
That is correct. See, we can't be worrying about what them other fellas are doing. God gave them their boundaries. They have their nation. They have their benefits. But if you mess up yourself and in your own territory, you're going to break up somebody else's territory. So why should that other nation be so burdened down with your problems from your people together with the problems that they are afflicted with in their own territory? That's why God set the bounds for nations. And that is what we ought to go by, because our Constitution speaks to us. We need to think about what is good for the Bahamian people, not for some strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders. We think too much like that. We got to stop that kind of thinking. That's not being a Bahamian.
I mean, let's face it, in the Bible, if you are a believer of the Bible, they even had boundaries for each of the tribes of Israel.
Of course they did.
There was specific boundaries
yes.
for each tribe.
This is your boundary. This is where you are to settle in, and you stay within those bounds.
So we're supposed to just throw the whole question of boundaries of a nation out because we have a bleeding heart for another nation that can't get its act together. That's what some people are suggesting.
That's what I'm thinking too, that they're suggesting that, but that's foolishness. You can't just throw the nation open to any and everybody. That's not going to help us. That's not going to help the Bahamian people. We have our share of problems, yes. We fought. We had some internal problems in this country that are behind us. Now, some people are trying to resurrect those things that are dead. They ain't bringing the dead back to haunt us again. We got some new issues that we must deal with. And the Bahamian people have to rise up and deal with those issues. We have a constitutional government in place. In fact, when you check the Constitution, you're going to see that it takes the collective will of a people, even when you have a representative, that representative has to work with the government of the Bahamas to be able to get things done for his constituents. That's how the system is set up. It isn't for him to think he's a big shot and he could do this and he could do that. No. The same thing applies with people in the constituency. It takes the collective will of the people in a given constituency coming to a common consensus, and you will come to that in the preamble, where they have to make a determination as to what course of action they're prepared to take in order to correct an issue or issues in that particular constituency.
So I can put up one more comment from Cara because I still don't think Cara gets it. Cara says, but they are here now. But them being here has nothing to do with the contents of our Constitution.
That's correct.
We're discussing today, Cara, because I still think you're missing the point. We are discussing the Constitution of the Bahamas, the contents of the Constitution of the Bahamas. That ain't got nothing to do with who here, apart from Bahamians, how they get here, how we feel about them. The Constitution of the Bahamas is very clear on what it has to say with regard to the law of the land in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yes.
Which has nothing to do with your feelings. So you asking the question of, well, you know, what, they're already here, and this ain't got nothing to do with feelings. It's like some people, I think Pastor Miles always used to say, when people question him about the Bible on a topic that is controversial, and they ask him, well, what is your opinion of this? He says, I don't have one.
Good.
What does the Word of God say?
Yes. And I say the same thing when I deal with the Constitution. People ask me, what is my opinion of this or that? When it comes to the Constitution, and when I'm speaking to the issue of the Constitution, my personal feelings have nothing
to do with the Constitution.
With the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm going to answer you constitutionally. I will give you a constitutional answer, not how I feel or what I think I ought to feel. because that has nothing to do with the law. If you violate the law, you violate the law. The penalty must be imposed. That's what people need to understand. It has nothing to do with feeling. Anytime you get these feelings in the way, you block progress for the development of your country. You're not going to take a hard stand against wickedness and corruption. You can always be thinking about this one or that one. That's my friend. That's my neighbor. That's this one. That's that one. You let that one get away, but then he needs to get away too. This is utter nonsense. So feelings and emotions getting in the way of national issues that affect all of us, and we're not looking at what the law said, particularly when it comes to supreme law now. Because that tops everything. So when I hear people talking about this convention and that convention, and we got to do this, we got to do that, I say, says who? When your Constitution says any other law, that includes international law, that includes these conventions, that include all these other things where they sign on, and some of them sign it, and then they didn't know what they were signing. But we have to correct all of that. We can't just let it sit there and say we have to do it, because we don't have to do it. We could tell them, no, we're not going to do it. You think the United States is going to sit around and say, well, let's see what the Bahamian people got to say on this. They don't be checking for us. The Canadians don't check for us. The British don't check for us. The French don't check for us. In fact, now I got to get back to the Attorney General's office, because they got some things where you're supposed to, I think we signed about 40 out of 50, I think it's 49. And I've been trying to figure out what are these 49 things the Bahamian people sign, or the government of Bahamas sign, which they agreed to with them people in Europe. Are they constitutional, yes or no? But I tell them I got to see them. So I got to get back to that. But the point is, we have to know what we're doing. Otherwise, these people will trick you and take away what God has blessed us with. We have to fight to preserve it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. The first hour and gone?
Wow.
My God. Okay. Let's take this break.
Bad. That's too bad.
Oh, man. And when we come back, we're going to continue to break down the preamble of the Constitution of the Bahamas. In case you joined us late, we are discussing in a masterclass with Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, the Constitution of the Bahamas. We're going to be breaking it down for you, section by section, bit by bit. Again, for sake of clarity, this has nothing to do with your opinion. This has nothing to do with your feelings. This has nothing to do with what you think is right and what you think is wrong. This is about what the Constitution of the Bahamas says.
Amen.
It is very clearly written in black and white.
That's right.
And what we're doing for the next several weeks is we are bringing that to the fore so you can understand what is written therein. So miss me with all the, well, you know, how you feel about this and that, because we ain't talking about your feelings today. We are talking about what is written in the Constitution of the Bahamas. And quite frankly, no disrespect, but maybe if you spend more time listening to learn about what the Constitution does say, you spend less time trying to convince somebody that we should go against the Constitution because of feelings.
Wow. That's trouble.
I can drop that one right there. Y'all marinate on that during the break. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome back to this Masterclass Monday on GPS Global Paradigm Shift with Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson. By the time we get to the series, I can get that right without having to, think about it.
You got it right. You took it a little slow.
I had to pause, make sure I get it right.
You did get it right.
And he's giving us a series of lectures on lessons on the Constitution of the Bahamas, what it says, what it means, and why you need to know it for yourself. And for those of you who are interested in having a look at it for yourselves, and perhaps that would help if you download it. Just Google Constitution of the Bahamas and you'll find it. Download it so that you can prepare questions for future master classes.
Sure.
So that, we can get your questions answered. Okay. The telephone numbers to call if you have a question, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line, if you want to text a message to us, is 801-0271, 801-0271. So let me take a couple of comments from our Facebook viewers. Bernard Paul says, the Constitution's parameters are to address a unique culture with a unique and specific ideology that proactively protects and catalyzes the perpetuation of attributes that would lend to free and progressive nation, principle before preference, and the responsibility to self before a courtesy towards others. Siobhan says, Dr. Miles Monroe predicted this invasion years ago and the heavy influence of foreign influence over our nation. Many doubt his teachings. So we actually have a question coming in from Hasheen, who's asking, what is the actual meaning of unconstitutional?
That's a good question. I like that one. Anything that is done and it violates the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas is unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
anything that is done to violate any principle or law within the Constitution is unconstitutional.
Okay, that's simple and straightforward. Okay, let's continue now, breaking down the preamble. What is a national commitment to self-discipline?
Interesting. Now, that's one of the things that we have to do as a people to preserve our freedom. When you look at the way how we behave in the country today with the high rate of murders, you have to ask yourself, where is the self-discipline? See, a self-disciplined person doesn't have to be watched. He would know what is expected of him as a citizen. He would know what to do. She would know what to do. It doesn't mean that they're perfect people. It's just that they have a healthy respect for standards, for procedures. You don't go and violate other people's rights because somebody is not looking. You will do it even when they are looking or when they're not looking, because it becomes a part of your character. You are so well disciplined in yourself, meaning you behave orderly, you behave respectfully, you respect those who are seniors to you, respect those who may even be younger than you. But the point is, you respect the privacy of individuals that's spelled out in the Constitution. You're not going to go out there and murder and kill and destroy and covet after other people. You'll work for what you get. So you can say, I can take that fella things. You will discipline yourself and help yourself to understand that you need to make a meaningful contribution to your country. And so you have to, sometimes when you get upset about something, you just have to control yourself. Because sometimes people can put you in a rage and before you know it, you snap. And you're out of control. And then something untoward happened. As we've been seeing in recent times, some terrible things. In fact, before I came here, some other murders have occurred. I said, where are all these murders coming from? What's happening? Something is seriously wrong. Are we importing criminals into this country? Do we know who is here in this country? Because we're losing so many males. We need protection for the males in this country. We have to find out what's going on. And the police would have their intelligence. They should know. But the citizenry has to know too. We have to hold our tongue. Our tongue gets us in trouble. We talk people business. That's not being a disciplined person at all. So we respect the law, yes. We control our tongue, yes. We respect the rights and freedoms of others, yes. So we have to sometimes wait for our time to come. Everybody can't get it all at one time. So we have to bridle our greed and selfishness. Bring it under control. That's what we're supposed to be doing. All of that is a part of being a disciplined person, following the rules, following the regulations. When the teacher says something to the child, sit in the classroom, read your book, do this, do that. When mommy and daddy say do this, do that, you do it because you want to be obedient to your parents, to your teachers, and also to those that have authority in society. You may disagree with their politics, but they exercise a certain degree of authority in the country. You respect that authority. You may disagree with their politics. That's a whole horse of a different color. But you respect the fact that they're in the office, whether it's a police officer, a nurse, a janitor, a dentist, it doesn't matter, a representative, a parliamentarian. But the thing is that we have to discipline ourselves that others may see how we are living. Our lifestyle has to be right. And of course, that's where God's way comes in. We are a nation under God as a disciplined people.
But you know, there are some professor who would argue that following laws restricts freedom. Whereas, if you really think about it, following laws grants freedom. I'll use the law of the street light as an example, right? There are many people on our streets nowadays, and it seems the number seems to be growing, who do not seem to think that I have a right to go on green, because their light red and they speeding through it like it's just a suggestion. That red light is just a suggestion, or that's just decoration, right?
Yes.
So if we don't follow a law as simple as that, we are all imprisoned in a way, because now before I go on green, I got to be looking left and right to make sure nobody violating the law, to ensure that I don't get killed. When, quite frankly, if everybody followed that law, traffic would move smoother. Everybody would get where they need to go safely. We wouldn't have all of these traffic accidents that we have, because there's freedom in following the law, not the other way around.
Ms. Malcolm, you're quite right. My sister was a driving instructor. She encounters this every day. I was with her earlier today. And she sees this total disrespect for traffic lights, total disrespect for stop signs. You're supposed to stop. The sign is there, say stop.
And that ain't just decoration.
That's not decoration. It's a law put in place to protect us.
Right.
So if we follow the law, yes, that's how our freedoms are guaranteed. You will always be making trouble for yourself as well as for others. And we've had a lot of people lost their lives on our streets, unfortunately. And so if we follow the law, we be obedient to law, we walk according to law, our country will be a much better place. If we govern this country based on these strong national principles, our country will be a better country. We will have a happier people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a standard, a way that we must live. We must practice it. We must live it all the time, not no now and then. When you feel like doing it, you do it. When you don't feel like stopping to the light, you ain't stopping. You don't care about nobody else.
Because I in a rush and I leave home late.
You leave home late.
So
leave home early. That's why I left early, to get here for 2 o'clock. But the point is that we have to be a disciplined people. We have to see the need to follow orders. You may not always agree with everything that's out there, but that's a personal thing. But for the well-being of others in the society, we have to cooperate with each other. We have to help one another. We have to support each other. And some of us know better, so we ought to do better. See, when I have people talking foolishness about the Constitution, I don't castigate them, I just say as gently as I possibly can, because I still believe they don't know. But I tell them now, you got to stop not knowing. You got to start doing the right thing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can gradually creep upon them. But the thing is that we have to be understanding law is very important for the stability of the country.
I want to read a question that's coming in from one of our Facebook viewers. Bernard is asking the question, can something be constitutional in legality, but unconstitutional in fundamental biases, whether it may be manifested in the short term or long term?
Read that again for me. I want to make sure I understand the question.
Okay, let me find it because it
Read it
scrolled
again
back
for
up.
me.
Okay, let me read that again.
Yeah, I
It
just want to be
says,
sure.
Can something be constitutional in legality, but unconstitutional in fundamental biases, whether it may be manifested in the short term or long term?
Let me answer it this way. The Constitution is a legal document. In fact, let me put it this way. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is never wrong. It is always right. Let me repeat that. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is never, ever wrong. It is always right. Just like the Holy Scriptures. The Holy Scriptures are never wrong. The Holy Scriptures are always right. Same thing with your Constitution. Now, did I say the Constitution is perfect? I never said that. The Holy Scriptures is perfect. But the principle is still the same because that's your supreme law. Now, some people may have certain biases, but their biases has nothing to do with the Constitution. Because once the law is written, that's it. It's the supreme law. It's legal, it is binding, and it's the supreme law of the land. So some people may have some biases. Yes, they do, but that's a different matter altogether. But everything in the Constitution of the Bahamas, like some fellow said one time ago, but you got to be unconstitutional. Child, please. It is a legal document. It is binding until it is changed in a referendum. The vast majority of those articles in that document can only be changed by a referendum. And so we have to understand it has to go back to the people. Not talking foolishness about you going to set up one statute law to overrule what the people say. You got to be off your rockers, man. Don't talk foolishness like that. Go back to the people. And if they tell you no again, it's no. You notice something, Ms. Malcolm? Let me just say this while I'm at it.
Mm-hmm.
The election of the last one we had, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
The party that won didn't say, maybe the people made a mistake. Them people should get the seats. They ran with the 82. And tell them other fellas, you all only get 7. We got a mandate to be in charge.
Right.
No kind of questioning about the results of that election.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fellas before them had much more. And the other fellas had 4.
Mm-hmm.
They say one thing, maybe mistake happened. Boy, we got 35 out of 39. They ran away with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the people decide in the referendum, you want to talk about they make a mistake? Give me a break, man. Stop talking foolishness and nonsense. But that's the way people are. See, it benefited them, so it's good.
Right.
So now we have to take it as it is, whether we agree or disagree. That's why I have a problem with people who want this document to be satisfactory to them and their persons. And as long as it benefits them, it's okay, but detrimental to others is a problem.
Well, Bernard is making his position more clear in this statement. He says, there is a letter of the law, but there is also a spirit of the law that should take precedence. The spirit of the law is the reason the law was created to address an ever-evolving society. How does that statement relate to the reality of our Constitution?
That's a good point that he brought up. Now, we have to go by what is written. We cannot negate that. The founding fathers didn't put any notes, We don't have any notes from the founding fathers, none whatsoever. The only thing we have is the Constitution itself. The point is, we've had some who have said some things, but this is some 50 years later. So now we have to go by the final document, what is there in black and white. Now, there's the intent in the document, yes. The spirit of the law, yes. You said in the preamble how we're supposed to behave. What is our position to be as a people in regard to these articles? It talks about the individual rights and freedoms of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So the individual has rights, freedoms, privileges. But the nation has a problem, as a mission too, as a whole national commitment to do some specific things. But the individual has a commitment as well. But the rights, and let me just say this right now so none could misunderstand, because this is very important. The rights of the individual cannot supersede the rights of the majority. Let me repeat that. The rights of the individual person cannot supersede the rights of the majority.
So Bernard is asking another question that I think deserves some clarification.
Yes.
Does the origin and era of a law determine its relevance?
But let's put it this way. The founding fathers at that time had to deal with what was before them.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't go 50 years into the future. Nobody knows that. What has happened over that 50-year span is we should have been examining things that are happening in our country. But then the people say they didn't know the Constitution. Fine. That's 50 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to cut the crap out. We got to start to know it so that we can make the necessary changes. Because I would agree that there are some things that need to be changed in the current Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. But as it stands now, it's supreme, it's final, it always will be right.
Right.
So the fact that there may be a need to change it, we didn't do it over the last 50 years. We decided to leave it as is. Fine. I have to go with that. But now, if the people of the country look at something in the Constitution and say, you know something, this thing needs to change, that's going to require a referendum.
That's the only way for that to happen.
That's the only way it could happen. And you know, these people, this current administration, the one before that, they wasn't checking for no referendum. Because they saw what happened with the first two.
Right.
They got a no.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably get a third no too. Particularly if it is not explained to the Bahamian people.
Because those last two no's were because they were trying to play political
Of course
football
they
with
were.
the Constitution, and it became a political statement.
It became a political statement.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we have a call on the line. Caller,
Yes,
welcome to GPS.
Hello.
Hi, you on the air?
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon to the professor.
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, I'm listening and learning. You know, I always listen to him when he speaks, but, you know, most of the statements are aphoristic, truthful, factually truthful, but during the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with the letter that Alfred Sayers had written about the competent authority and one power being vested in one man versus some form of oversight and other input, right? And so I saw where the rights was alienated. My inalienable rights was alienated from me, right? Right to assembly and different rights, like let's say the vaccine passport. Even with the science, these things are unconstitutional. But I was in a debate with Stephen Hanna on the rights of the individual versus the rights of the collective. And so this is what I call, it's still, I really, this is where the crux of the situation lies. We all make up the collective. I'm an individual. Not because I don't want to conform to something, but if it's proven to be incorrect, the science, the pseudoscience is incorrect. Yet still, I was being coerced into receiving a vaccine, which there's something called informed consent, which is still juxtaposed this with inalienable rights. And I see all this is being taken out of the door. And so I agree with Ms. Malcolm, psychological outlook as far as obeying the law. But we must remember that being a good citizen is not necessarily being subservient and obedient to every law that the government makes. This is the reason why the United States have these constitutional infrastructure put in place for the citizens to buffer tyrannical moves by the government. Okay. And so this, what I'm afraid is anyone who's well read will know that throughout history, humanity is being driven and misled in the guise of the greater good when it was proven incorrect. So all of this talk about the greater good to supersede the right of the individual. My argument was this, because I read philosophy. Me as an individual don't have the right to impose, just like if I was a tyrant, I don't have the right to impose my views on the collective, versus as the collective don't have the rights to impose their will on me. So I just like to hang up, because this is where the crux of the problem lies. We saw the manipulation, we saw the overextension of the emergency powers, all of these constitutional violations, but no lawyer, nobody can use. The only person I hear talking about it, maybe Warren and some other people, and Michelle Malcolm, and saying people was talking about me, was raising with this scary scientific dictatorship paradigm that the world has moved into. You go into a restaurant, you can't sit down if you're not vaccinated, which is total BS, because the science doesn't prove that. Ms. Malcolm, you remember when they were saying the unbox was causing the transmission, the pandemic to prolong? You remember that, right?
I remember 52, but I don't want to lose.
Then you try
Take a breath. Take a breath. I don't want us to lose focus on this show 52. We don't have a lot of time.
But I just wanted him to comment on the constitutionality of all the scientific BS versus my rights.
I understand where you're
collective and the individual, because we're all being manipulated any which way you put it. Have a good day. But I didn't see any lawyers speak up to anybody, and I don't even know what my rights are no more, because it just doesn't make sense. You can't go in a restaurant if you're not vaccinated. But if something is wrong, the science is being used to take away my rights.
Just for the record, though.
Yeah, bless up.
Thank you for calling 52. Just for the record, that's not written in law. That's a mandate they came up with, but that is not written in the law, and it's certainly ain't written in the Constitution.
No, it isn't.
So, we just decided to follow their mandate, but
But some people didn't have to do it if they didn't want to, right?
Right.
Now, sometimes authorities may have some strange ways of behaving.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, he talked about the pandemic and the emergency powers and so on. I didn't know of any movement by those who are trained in the law to take any appropriate action against the government of the Bahamas during that time. All right? Now, the average citizen doesn't know constitutional law. They could not fight something they don't know anything about. But there are those in our midst who know, who are QCs.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't do anything. Why did they sit back?
They went along with the narrative.
They went along with the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's our history. We got to understand that. But that does not mean in 2022 we can't do anything about it. Even though that particular administration is now out of office. But the point is the damage has already been done. Because there are times, Ms. Malcolm, and audience, let me just say this. That's why you see I always go to 24:1 in your Constitution, and some people complain. Well, one particular person was complaining about the fact that I quote it so often. What that particular person fails to understand, it's the only place in your Constitution that you have it. And you cannot overlook that. If you overlook it, it's to your detriment. If you don't act on it, it's to our detriment. Well, that's what happened in the pandemic. There are times, Ms. Malcolm, you have to move strategically in dealing with national issues. But if the people are not ready to move, you cannot compel them to move if they're not ready. So sometimes you have to wait. But I can tell them now, on this show today, Bahamians, you got to be ready and prepared to know your Constitution, because I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to be challenged like the way we have never, ever been challenged before. You think what happened with that former administration, you just stick around a little bit longer. You'll see. You're going to see some things that will cause your hair to raise like it has never raised before. We are moving into some very dangerous waters. And as a nation, I firmly feel constitutionally we're not ready. But we have to get ready. We can't be playing any more games. We have to tell our leaders when they are wrong, lock, stock, and barrel. If they violate or attempt to violate the Constitution, we must move quickly to stop them. Just as simple as that. You can't let the damage happen, and then all of a sudden everybody grumbling, complaining. Oh, look what they did to me. What do you mean what they did to you? When it was in your hand to do something about it, you did nothing. But the point is, that's water under the bridge now. We got to look what's happening now, because I can tell you some strange things are happening in this country right now, today, that would cause us to take action, Article 24:1. Because if we don't, we could lose our country. Just as simple as that.
All right, we got to take a quick break. My God. I even didn't get through half the page of my questions.
No, you didn't get the half page.
And we only got 28 minutes left in the show.
But we'll wait with that 28.
We can do it. We can do it. Stay with us. This is GPS Talking the Day to Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson. This is a master class Monday, and we're breaking down the Constitution. We still in the preamble, y'all.
Yes, we are.
We'll be back after these words. Stay with us.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fence and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with my guest today, Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is providing us with a masterclass series on understanding the Constitution. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line is 8010271. That's for text messages only, 8010271. I want to read a couple of messages that have been placed here on Facebook. So Amos says, all modern law after World War I started here at Universal Declaration of Human Rights. all are human rights that the Supreme Law speaks to, and that we are about must begin at its beginning. If there is no Universal Declaration of Human Rights, there's no Supreme Law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Professor continues to overlook the real true reason that our Supreme Law was granted in the first place. Remember, everyone, the signing of World War II Universal Declaration of Human Rights Agreement, 1948 to 1973, is our humble national beginning. What are your thoughts on that?
I've heard that before. There was no Commonwealth of the Bahamas at that time. We were a British colony, so we were under Britain. And they had their part to play with the Universal Declaration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to disagree that a lot of things in our Constitution are incorporated from the Universal Declaration rights of the individual. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's validity to that. But let me say this to that particular person who sent the text. We have to look at what is happening in our country. We have to be nationalistic, a national commitment to do some specific things. We have to be very careful what others are trying to push us into a situation which will cause us to be confused, and we forget who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, why we're supposed to be doing, how we're supposed to be doing it. Our nationality as Bahamians would be lost. While I respect the Declaration of Human Rights and the rights of other people, I don't have a problem with that. But we have to be concerned about what's happening here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. If we aren't concerned, nobody else will be concerned. Because those people out there don't be checking for us. They just don't. They do their own thing. And while they have a right to do that, we have a right because we are an independent, sovereign state. People don't understand what that means, you know. We don't have to follow fashion after what others are doing. Mind you, they have some things that we could look at and examine and see how we can inculcate it into our country. But we mustn't get mixed up with all these international agreements that the Bahamas has signed. We've signed on too many of them that we're in confusion. Because too many things that I know are being said and being practiced, coming from these different things signed by different people. We got to examine these things very carefully and ask ourselves, are we really serious about enforcing those things on our people?
All right. That being said, let's get back to what is actually stated in the preamble of the Constitution. What is a national commitment to industry? How do you describe that?
Good. Now, industry has to do with what we have in our country, how we're going to build it up, the type of work we're going to have, the different occupations, the different services we're going to provide, service industry, building industry, educational services, and so on. We have to look at our people and educate our people in the talents and abilities that they have. We always hear this statement about people falling through the cracks. We're a small country in terms of our population. We cannot afford to lose people. So we have to look and see what it is that they can contribute to building up. Where do they fit in? We have to help them, Ms. Malcolm. If we don't help them, those of us who know better now, because there are those of us who know better, we got to help our brothers and sisters to guide them and lead them into what place they can fit in this country and make a significant contribution. Right now, we're losing too many people because of their lack of understanding. And I want to use that word, lack of understanding, because they don't know better. But we have to help them to do better. Now, after we have helped them to do better and they're on their feet, fine, the nation can begin to go forward. Because there are some things that people want to do, they're interested in doing. We have to get those creative juices going in our people. because we can have some new inventions in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Okay.
Some new things that have never been practiced before.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle,
Hi.
can you hear me clearly?
Perfectly.
Wonderful. And good afternoon to Professor Sidney Walter McArthur Thompson. Michelle, it is indeed a privilege, Bahamians listening to GPS Live, to be at the age I am now, 52 years of age too, and to be watching on television this gentleman, the statesman of a human being for our universe. When he speaks, his word is echoed in the universe. I need him to comprehend me today, that him and I are on one page. I've just shown him a light from a different perspective. Like he said, he saw that. So obviously what I know, he don't know. So if and when we join his knowledge with the little I know to compare with the great vast of knowledge that is in his one little finger, let me tell you, the young people will get the message. But what I'm trying to say to you today, Michelle, is this, unto the universe and in the universe. When God went and searched out David, he was boy disrespected by his brothers, okay? He had to go keep the sheep, okay? And the fact that the way his father spoke to the prophet in respect to him, his our parents in this country is talking some nonsense over their children. Now, I could explain to Mr. Thompson the part I know that obviously he did not and maybe don't want to take the time to study. The point what I'm making here, when God ready to find a Bahamian on all the Bahamas, and obviously the Bahamas ain't hard to find because we are the most beautiful place from space. He don't make mistakes, Brother Thompson. Do you understand me? He can't make no mistakes. Anything I say, and just about everything you say, is 1,000% correct. Why? Because of our courage to tell the leaders of our country who are alive, who serve as prime ministers, that the Bahamian people, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, is not going to take the nonsense no more. That is where my part, as relates to the British Nationality Act, come in.
Okay.
Could you comprehend me now? Because when I come in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, his Father, which is Yeshua now. Don't mix me up. In the name of Yahweh's Son, Jesus Yeshua, and no human being on the face of the earth can tell me I'm wrong, not in my mind. And if y'all don't believe in Jesus and don't believe he's alive, I believe in him. He's living in me.
Okay,
I
Amos.
love his word. I love what the Bible said about him.
Thank you,
First
Amos.
up,
Thank you,
I don't
Amos.
care what y'all do.
Thank you, Amos. 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 Because I only got 15 minutes left in the show.
Yeah.
And you going off on a tangent, which we don't have time for today. So I appreciate you, Amos. Thank you for calling. But yeah, we stay focused today. All right. So next on the list of questions that I want to ask is, what is a national commitment to loyalty?
That's an interesting question. Being loyal to something. Are you prepared to give up your life for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? That is something every Bahamian has to ask himself or herself. Persons who come here who want to be here. How faithful are you to the principles that the country has established and set up?
I want you to stick a pen in that. We have a caller calling on a cell phone, but I want to come back to that for sure,
ma'am.
because that is a question that is often raised nowadays in terms of loyalty to the Bahamas. But let's go to this cell phone caller. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson.
Yes, how are you? Thank
I'm
you.
okay. You got a good show going today. Your show is very strong with you on it, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, listening on the weekend to, I think it's Stevie Moss started a show on Saturday, and he was saying that the theme of the show is basically like the chickens have come home to roost. And if he said in the end of the show, he said that if the Bahamas government give all the children who were born here by legal parents their status, he said the rabbits will have the gun and we'll be on the run.
Okay.
I mean, he was adamant that it shouldn't happen because, I mean, like, we always say over the years, Mr. Thompson, that if two illegal people can't make no illegal people in this country, but that's all they've been doing over the years. The manifestation of it is right in our faces today, and it's going to be worse.
Yes.
All right. So you have a question, or you just wanted to make that statement?
No, I wanted to ask Mr. Thompson if the chickens are going to come home to roost and the rabbit is going to have the gun. If basically the Bahamas government, go on to allowing persons who are they're not really constitutionally bound to have a passport and to be citizens, and they're just going to give them because their parents came here illegally and intentionally got pregnant, and it's just a whole lot. And the Bahamas government dropped the ball to 18 and 30 and 40, right up to 48 years, 49 years. And right now today, we're looking to just hand over passports like candy. And on the other end of the spectrum, the Bahamians who I'm talking about, then with British subjects and even right to Bahamians, they can't get their passports, and I'm one of them, okay? But they're giving our passport away to all kind of anybody from anywhere, and it's a slap in the face, you know?
All right, let's let him respond.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah.
Well, caller, you've made some very interesting points, and I don't want to jump the gun, but looking at Article 7.1, which we will come to some point down the road, but speaking to the issue of immigration, we have some very serious issues to deal with. And the Bahamian people are going to have to stand up and let their views be known constitutionally, because we cannot have a situation. In fact, the founding fathers never intended for everybody who comes to these shores to be citizens. Let's get that point out there. Everybody born in the Bahamas was never intended to be a citizen. That's clearly revealed in the Constitution. So we're going to have to do something about the situation. Bahamians are going to have to realize how serious this problem is. It's a growing problem. We have too many persons in our land who we don't even know. And the things that they're doing, are they working in our best interest? The answer is no. So we have to do something about it.
All right, let's get back to this question of national commitment to loyalty. Sorry, what is a national commitment to loyalty? You were in the middle of that thought when the call came in.
And the thing is, what are we prepared to do? How far are we prepared to go as citizens? Are we prepared to die for our country? How loyal are we? How faithful are we to this place, which has given all these benefits to us? Or do we just want something for ourselves at the expense of others? Because if we operate that way, one day we're going to find that what we thought we had, we won't have anymore. Because when I look at my community, I say to myself, I want these people to be living better than they're living now. That protects me. That's my interest being protected. If they continue in the way they're going now, and I'm not pleased with the things I see in my own community, and I'm doing something about it, because I have a responsibility to do something about it, and it will have to change, because I'm going to insist that it change and get the majority of them to go along with me in making that change possible. That's what we're going to have to do. So how faithful are we to this country? Are we going to stand for the principles on which this country was built? Foundational principles? Or are we going to just say, I just want something tangible? And I'm satisfied with that, even though my brother next to me doesn't have anything. That doesn't make any sense. It's only going to last for a short, brief period of time, and then it's going to fall over.
So Zenovia says on Facebook, citizenship should never be given out, only residency. What are your thoughts on that?
She may have a valid point, because when you look at the state of the country, Ms. Malcolm, we need to put a stop to citizenship. Complete stop. I don't think immigration knows who is in this country up to this day. You would call them right now, they couldn't tell you. They don't know. How many people have citizenship?
But is that constitutional?
That's a good point you ask. The question has to be asked, and I'll ask this question. Are we interested in taking the necessary measures, even though sometimes painful, to protect what we have. Because if we allow it to keep slipping away from us, we have no more country. Would it be constitutional to be able to protect the interests of the country? Yes, it would be constitutional. Would it be unconstitutional to allow an avalanche of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders to come in here unregulated, doing and acting as they please, and the government today decides to just allow any and everything to happen? That would not be in our best interest. So there are times, Malcolm, when some hard decisions have to be made because of mistakes that occurred in the past. Now, some might not like it, but that may be so. But some hard, and I'm going to tell it right now, the government of the Bahamas is going to have to make some very tough, hard decisions to protect the interests of the Bahamian people. They have no other choice to do it. Otherwise, the country will sink. Now, we got to make up our mind. Are we going to do it? Are we going to encourage the government to do it? Or are we going to let it sink? I would prefer us to take the hard decisions. It may be uncomfortable for a while, but we have to live with that. But we have to protect what we have. If we don't protect what we have, Article 24(1) kicks right in again. Then we have nothing. We lose everything that we have because we allow these people to come in here, do and act as they please, and carry on in a manner that's to our detriment. That's not good.
Okay. All right. Let's see now. Let's move on. Let's go because we only have 6 minutes left.
Wow.
What is a national commitment to unity? Let's try to get through these first couple of questions, and then next week we would look at moving forward from there. So, what is a national commitment to unity? Yeah.
What is it that we have that can bring the overwhelming majority of the people on one cause that we can agree on?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything right now in 2022, August 8th, that the people of this country can be united on for the salvation of this country? That is very critical, and we have to think about that. Now, I know people have different interests. Fine. That's constitutional. That's allowed. But Bahamians, we have some serious problems in this country. What is the one single thing that Bahamians can be united on in terms of making sure that we stabilize the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Because we got some serious issues, very serious issues that we are afflicted with. Now, we can't just keep bleeding because we're going to bleed to death.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that we can do? And maybe we can have this come back next week. Some people can tell us what they think. What is the one thing that can bring the overwhelming majority, I would say more than 80% of the people, with one voice and say, yes, this is what we want the government to do, to deliver this Commonwealth of the Bahamas from going down? We're on a downward trend. We saw some recent events that are happening, which shows that we have some serious problems. We can't keep going down like this. Sooner or later, it will crash. But we want to avoid crashing because we may never be able to get back up again.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen what has happened to other countries around the world. Are we going to allow ourselves to stay on that crash course and knowing that something untoward is going to happen to the Bahamian people? I think we can stop it before it gets to that point. From my understanding of the Constitution, what I know and what I understand about national affairs, I believe we still have time, but time is running out. We're going to be celebrating 50 years next year. And here we are as an independent sovereign state, and we are not able to say today, on August the 8th, 2022, What is that one thing that Bahamians can be united on, pull us together to save our country? That's something we need to think about.
Wow. All right. Well, any class, whether it's high school, junior high, primary school, university level, there's always some degree of homework. So the homework for next week is to come with some suggestion as to answer that particular question. I want you to throw it out again, Professor. The first part of the homework is you got to download the Constitution onto your device if you haven't already done so, and read through it for yourself so that you can come with some questions for the professor. But the second part of the homework is to come with the answers to that question. Ask the question again so they know what they're doing.
What is that one thing? We talk about unity. We have to be united people. Something that 80% or more of the Bahamian people can agree on, that this is a specific course of action we need to take to save our country. Because we have some very serious problems that afflict our people. We can't stay here bleeding. We can't stay here complaining. I listen to the talk shows and I hear the complaints. There's nothing wrong with necessarily complaining, but Bahamians, we've got to look at ourselves and take appropriate action. Article 24.1, that last phrase in there. We have to protect our interests. It is our duty as citizens to protect the interests of our country for ourselves, our children. Now, we have a constitutional government. We have to work with the government today. What is that one thing that we can say to the government of the Bahamas that Bahamians are unified on, lock, stock, and barrel, to take us out of what we have today?
Got to go. Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, great class today. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here. And God willing, he'll be back next week, Monday, for this continuation of our series masterclass on the Constitution of the Bahamas. But it is 4 o'clock. Got to get out of here.
Wow.
I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tomorrow is Hot Topic Tuesday. We're going to be looking at a topic that is trending now here in the Bahamas. And we'll break it down with you, of course, and your cooperation and participation. Until then, I'll see you guys. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas.